Hello my friends, and welcome to another Pick a Card Tarot reading. I feel like recently a lot of people on TikTok or just in my day-to-day life have been talking about the transitions that they're going through, and I think that's really common for the season. We just passed Mabon, so, you know, harvest season, sort of the change of the weather. A lot of people are feeling the pressure, you know, school started, that kind of thing. So I wanted to sort of look at what we're leaving behind, what we're moving into, and how to harness that energy. So I've got 3 piles here, and we're going to be looking at the Oracle cards and tarot to sort of see your best route of action forward, I guess. So, for the first pile, we have the Book of the Dead Tarot with Obsidian. For the second pile, we have the Work Your Light Oracle with Malachite. And then for the third pile, we have the Astrological Oracle with Carnelian. So feel free to pause the video if you need, or if you feel called to a pile as soon as you saw it, fantastic. You can scroll down to the description box below and click the timestamp with your pile and get started on your reading. Hello pile 1, if you chose the Obsidian or were drawn to the Book of the Dead Tarot, this is your reading. We're going to start with Oracle cards. And sort of see the energies we've got going on. I said in the intro that I wanted to look at the energies that we're leaving behind and the energies that we're moving into. Oh, perfect. So we've got 2 cards here. We've got Scorpio and Neptunus. Let's get a few more. Oh, thank you. And we've got Capricorn and Mars. Okay, sweet. So I want more oracles to start off. We've got 2 piles here, so I'm looking at this as where you've been, and this is where you're transitioning into. So this already tells me a lot. Okay, perfect. What have we got for pile 1? What energy are they moving into? What information? Okay. Okay. Interesting. And where is my... I'm so confused. Where's my other... Oh, there it is. Okay. Going to get some keywords with the Species by the Thousand Oracle. Let's see what we've got here. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay. Ooh, alright. Okay. I really need a larger table. Okay. Actually, we're gonna shift these around a little bit. Okay. This is a nice little spread we got going on here. So, first of all, we're going to look at where you're coming from, and then slowly make our transition to where you're at, that kind of thing. And then we're going to get some tarot cards in the mix to sort of see important key points or just tie the strings together. So, first thing I want to look at is the Scorpio energy. So this is a lot of like mystery, drama, and it's exciting, but I think it might actually be super draining for your energy, which also might be why you gravitated towards the obsidian, because obsidian absorbs negative energy. So you may have been sort of addicted to these negative cycles in this past phase that you're now moving out of. But I think there might be some sort of self-protection. Now, this might not be self-protection in the way of actually protecting yourself, but like self-preservation in the way that you follow the same rhythms instead of delving into the unknown. So, you may actually be in a space of like being protective of yourself, your heart maybe, and if someone gets too close or whatever, you have a tendency of lashing out or drawing inward, being secretive. So it's really intense. I have a Scorpio moon, so I know what the intensity of Scorpio is like, and it can be a lot. So, yeah, but that seems to be sort of the stage that you were in beforehand, and now you're moving into Capricorn energy, which is a lot of structure. And I think like you're putting things into action. So you're becoming more practical and secure with yourself. So you're implementing things a little bit more. Maybe things that you've learned in the transitional period. I've seen a lot of talk about like the in-between where you're leaving your old self behind, but you're not quite your new self. So I think the Capricorn energy is very much that implementation of the things that you've learned in the in-between. Because you do have a line in your life which is sort of focusing on your recognition of the things that need to change. So if you're recognizing that because of the Scorpio energy you've been sort of stuck in, it's just not aligned with you anymore, it's really draining, then, you know, you're making that change. And you're simplifying. We've got the terminated quartz, which is about simplification. Oh my gosh, this is the first pile and I already can't speak. But there's growth and self-sufficiency. So you're the one putting these things in place. You're the one who's making, you know, your secure life. You're taking control. And this is fantastic for you, I think. So in combination, we're going to look back at Scorpio and its combo with Neptunus. So for Neptunus, we have this idea of exploration, the unknowns in a way. Sort of think of like the deep sea. And the idea of Scorpio is exploring the mysteries. Like these two in combination is encouraging you to explore the mysteries of yourself. So really digging deep and finding like the root, maybe even shadow work. This might be like you're coming out of a period of shadow work, which actually makes a lot of sense also because we have the divine, or the Council of Light here, divine orchestration, helpers in the subtle realm. So you may have had sort of an intuitive push to do shadow work and look at yourself a little more critically. And I think this has taken a lot of time and energy. Again, you're feeling drained. I really feel that. So, but I think like the time has come to sort of shift, and you've made these changes. You've sort of shifted your alignment so that you can realize the Capricorn energy and the combination of Capricorn and Mars energy is really interesting too, because I think this is like, you know, you've put in so much work here, and you've made, or at least recognized, the changes. So now it's like, moving forward, you want to be careful in your plans to accomplish your next stage. You know, Mars is the one that pushes forward with those desires. You know, they're a fighter. So making sure that you have a plan to go after what you want in the future is sort of your next stage. And I think you have great capability of creating your personal heaven on earth. So, and you might actually have support, whether it's, you know, divine orchestration or people in your circles currently. So this has been a big shift. I think you're leaving behind a lot of unknowns, actually. Like, it was interesting to get caught up in things, but, you know, if you found that you just kept digging and digging and digging outside of yourself and not finding answers, like, you can only answer what's in your own depths, with all honesty, you know? So once you recognize that, you make the shift and you solidify what you want. You understand your needs on a new level, and you're willing to put a plan into place to make sure that you continue to move forward. And that's fantastic for you, honestly. I think that's really, really great to see in the cards. So I'm going to set these aside, and we're going to get into some tarot cards to sort of break this down a little bit more. All right. We've got one there. Perfect. Two. Oh, we've got a lot more there. Let's see. Okay. Shift that over. Okay. All right. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, holy crap. The amount of Wands cards here right now is insane. Okay. Well, woo, let's get into this, shall we? So, first thing that I want to look at is the Sun in reverse. I know it's a little ways down, but it's the only one that's not a Wands card from this draw. So, I think this really goes to show, like I said before, the energy drain. But specifically a focus on your inner child, needing to create a stronger bond. You've done a lot of really, really deep work, shadow work. This may have touched on, you know, your childhood, your youth, or just an earlier part of your life that you needed, closure on, something like that. So this is a really important time as you're shifting and, you know, like taking on new things, putting in that Capricorn energy to get your desires. Make sure that your inner child or younger self feels fulfilled too. Like, make sure that there's support. Do little things for yourself to make sure that that part of yourself is nourished, basically. Because I really think if you don't pay attention to this, you can definitely feel super, super down in your transition to this new phase of your life. But I think, like, there's a part of you also that's overly optimistic, and not to say, like, you know, optimism is a bad thing or whatever. Just the idea of, like, wanting to go, move on to the next thing, you know, like, you've done a lot of work that's been really heavy, so you want something uplifting and new, and that's coming for you, but just, you know, take your time to make sure that it is on a stable foundation. You know, I think there's a lot of things that you've learned about yourself recently, because of that deep Scorpio work that you were doing in a previous phase, and you want to be lighthearted, but there are things that you learned from that you can apply moving forward, and it's going to create a lot of ease for you if you listen. So make sure you reflect on that, that inner work that you did. So we've got the Four of Wands in reverse, which is an indication that, like, you've gotten this far, you know, like, you're shifting into this transitional period, and you've got this sense of personal celebration. There's harmony, you know, you're finally feeling this, like, big sigh of relief. But I think also with this transition, you know, you're releasing of negativity, you're stepping away from the drama, or just, like, disowning the drama, not wanting to be a part of it. It's gonna rub some people the wrong way, and maybe you've already kind of released some people, and that's fine. Like, you know, everyone's on their journey and stuff, but you're moving out of that, and I really don't want you to worry about what they think or they expect of you, because, you know, they had expectations of who you were to them, and likewise, I'm sure, even subconsciously, and, you know, you're not that person anymore. You are growing and shifting, and whether it was a shift that happened over time or just all of a sudden, like, that's the way that it happened, you know? So I really don't think you should blame yourself for, if there's conflict with other people. Like, definitely, you know, recognize things. Maybe that's part of the growth that you did, that inner work, that self-reflection. Maybe there's things you learned about yourself because of those, like, high, intense, dramatic situations of the past. But, you know, moving forward, take what you can from the learning experience and apply that to who you're becoming. So next we've got the Knight of Wands in reverse also. So this is, again, sort of what we saw with the Sun in reverse, where you're, like, so excited and enthusiastic, overly optimistic, trying to, like, get on with the next stage, and that's great. I love the enthusiasm, but, you know, this, if you're not implementing the things that you learned about yourself, if you're not taking care of yourself and your inner child, you're gonna get burnt out real friggin' fast. So your energy is gonna be super, super scattered, and you're gonna get frustrated because all of a sudden it feels like life isn't flowing the way that you want. And especially with that Capricorn energy, you want to make a long-term plan kind of thing. You want that stability. So as soon as something feels stunted, you're gonna have that frustrating sense. So with the Devil in reverse, this is an interesting card because the Devil is actually a sign of Capricorn energy, but this is this whole idea of releasing limiting beliefs. So I think, again, the expectations that you've put on yourself or you believe other people have put on you at different times in your life, you're letting go of those things. You know, you are coming out of a period of exploring the darker thoughts, like I said, with the Scorpio energy, exploring your deep mysteries and stuff like that, understanding how you work. So with that, you know, there is a sense of detachment to the parts of yourself that no longer serve you, and that can be kind of hard to release, but I think ultimately it is important. So we've got the Page of Wands in reverse. So this sort of emphasizes the self-limiting beliefs, you know, your expectations of self, I think. But there's also this idea of new ways of thinking, new ideas, new thought processes. And this comes from all the frickin' work you did, okay? Like, I really don't want you to belittle how much work you did in the previous stage just because you're feeling tired now. Like, recognize that fatigue as, like, you probably overworking because you were so dedicated to exploring the depths of your own psyche at the time, which was necessary. But I think now you're learning to redirect your energy. So, you know, this is how you can move forward instead of having the scattered energy that we saw earlier. So I think this is a really, really powerful card, and it's going to put you onto a new path that allows you to better connect with your inner child too. I really see that. So to wrap up, we've got the Two of Wands reverse, which is, again, that fear of the unknown, like I said, with the Oracle cards, but you're still moving forward with your personal goals. And that's Capricorn energy in a nutshell. You know, just like plodding away and getting stuff done. But this is an encouragement for planning. So if there is a goal that you want to accomplish in this season of the year, of your life, whatever, put it down on paper, you know, make a vision board, something like that, something that you'll see every day to remind you to live the life you're looking to harness, looking to manifest, because you totally have the ability to do it. You just need to plan. You need to make clear steps for yourself, and whether you do them like consecutively or it's just like little things at a time, you are so capable. So that is what I'm seeing for your reading. I really hope this brings you a little bit of insight moving forward into September, and I hope to see you next month. Bye! Hello, Group 2. Hello, Group 2. If you picked the Malachite or were drawn to the Work Your Light Oracle, oh my gosh, I cannot speak. But this is your reading. So we're gonna start with the Oracle cards, and whoop, that was fast. Okay, all right, I'm gonna move this over actually. So basically we're gonna look at two sides and have on the left over here, we're gonna have the energy that you were in. The center, we're looking at the transition period, and then on the other side we are examining the energies that you're moving into. Just gonna look at your transformation, and then we're gonna get into the tarot a little bit later and sort of go in a little more depth with what you learned and that kind of thing. how these things are going to affect you. All right. Got you. What do we got? Oh, that's more than I was anticipating. Okay. But we've got, okay. Gonna get some more Oracle, and then we'll get into going through the cards. Thank you. Okay. Ooh. Oh my god. That's so funny. Okay, so we know what we're talking about today. I'm gonna get some keyword cards from the Species by the Aventura. Oh my gosh, these are absolutely falling out. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Dang. Okay, group true. Let's get into this. I think, starting with this side, we are looking at some serious knowledge intake. So we've got Sagittarius, which, if you're familiar, is like the forever learner. It's a fire sign, so it's really, really a go-getter, more like assertive. Any Sagittarius I know, or anyone with like bold Sagittarius energy, is like usually very assertive and like wants to know more. They're the ones that ask why all the time, and they want to be good, you know? And then Gemini energy is sort of this duality, looking at things from multiple perspectives, you know. There's sort of a social aspect as well. So you may have been learning from communication with others. This could be like educational learning as well as social learning. So just a lot of intake. So you might be starting, maybe you're starting school or something, like starting university, or like, you know, it's your first year in high school or something like that. Or you're starting a new job, you're getting connected with new people in a new industry, that kind of thing. But I think there's a lot of pressure that you're like, this phase of yourself that you're kind of shifting out of. There was a lot of pressure, and this may have been really not so great on your mental health. It may have even caused a divide within yourself, like some questioning, some reflections. But this is important. This is going to help you grow, because we have the ever unfolding rose here. Cracked open is happening for you, not to you. So whatever's going on here, you know, I think another thing too, the idea of cracked open, I think you are open-minded. You know, you're taking in just so much information, and like even the image here, the woman is leaning back, you know, her heart chakra is open, and she's just taking so much in, energy-wise. And if you're learning in sort of a traditional sense, and then also from like a social perspective, you know, you're hearing other people's experiences and their personal stories and what they've learned, their perspectives, that kind of thing. It's so much to process, and I think you might be having a hard time, or you were having a hard time before this transformation, in terms of protecting your own energy, which is probably why we have the black tourmaline here, which is about protection. And I think, you know, you're taking in all this information and it's becoming overwhelming to process your own personal take on something, because there's just like way too much information to sort through for you to feel like you're making an informed decision or formulating an informed opinion. So I think with sort of this transition period, because we do have the literal transition card, things are changing at a cellular level, deep healing. So I think you are learning a lot of new things that may be useful and apply to yourself, your healing and personal experience, but you need to figure out what is your authentic opinion, because we have lapis lazuli here, and like authenticity is super important in terms of your moving forward. So, you know, you're not necessarily leaving behind the structures of like learning and taking information in. I think it's really important to be open to that, but you need to protect your energy and be authentic in terms of what you truly believe. And, you know, don't discount your own personal experiences. Be open to the experiences and understandings and perspectives of others, but you're doing a disservice to yourself if you're not being authentic about it. So I think as you move into this energy, the Scorpio side of yourself is doing that deep dive into understanding your personal mystery, which is like really interesting. I think there's like shadow work and stuff too, especially since, you know, the transformation card signifies healing. So shadow work, looking at things that you need to grow from, and even stuff that's kind of difficult. Like, as I said, this is really overwhelming. There's probably a lot of information here that you need to take your time with and filter. And Scorpio is just the person to do that and like really take it in and sort of plant those seeds of knowledge so that they continue to affect different parts of your life. But making sure that it's like information that is actually going to help you heal. Which I think you can benefit a lot from, but again, you need to learn how to like filter that information. And then we have the Leo card as well, which is all about like harnessing that confidence and being compassionate with yourself too. Because I think once you're in that Scorpio energy, it's really easy to sort of get bogged down with a lot of like negative cycles. You know, you're looking at stuff that needs healing, and you know, the dark sides of yourself too. So just be mindful, take care of yourself still, and like approach your own experience with compassion in the same way that you would likely approach the experience of others from, you know, the previous part before your own personal transition. And maybe there's something that someone said recently that sort of cued this transition for you, you know, something that just as soon as you heard it, it was like a small sense of closure or something like that. But if we're looking at Jupiter's kind of overlay of influence, Jupiter in combination with Scorpio, I think indicates success and hidden opportunities. So this combination could again be applied to the connections and conversations that you have here, especially since like the social aspect or you know, if you're going into university, you're suddenly connected to a lot more like-minded people if you're in the same program. So you've got the soul family card here, indicating that you don't have to do this alone. You know, you've got people who are processing a lot of the same information from like an academic level and maybe even a social level. Like, you really don't know. So you have some perhaps unseen opportunities. You don't have to dig deep alone. There's probably other people going through similar experiences, not exactly the same, but similar. So keeping that openness from before, you know, staying protected, protecting your energy, but being authentic, because that's going to draw you to people who are on the same journey and who are going to support you in unlikely ways. So being open to that. And then on top of that, you know, you have so much success in the future. I think if you really, really harness this energy, your success is going to be tenfold, because the Leo in combination with Jupiter is so powerful in terms of good fortune. So I think you're going to be really, really blessed as you move into this and really, you know, like take hold of your authentic self and do the work for personal healing and, you know, keep that mentality of being open and authentic with people. You're going to call in the right people, and success is going to come to you so much easier when you allow yourself to be yourself, you know. But you have to take time to understand what that means, and the way that you do that is by, like, you know, compartmentalizing the information that you've taken in all at once and taking your time to really break it down. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing for the oracle cards, but I want to get into the tarot, so we're just going to set this aside and shuffle some cards for you. So I've got Book of the Dead Tarot. Let's get into it. Let's get some cards out for you. Really see if there's any additional messages that I can pass on as you move into this next phase. Oh, thank you. Okay. Awesome, awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay. We'll get a couple more. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. Yes. Very nice. And I'm going to take this as well. Lot of major arcana. Wowee. My goodness. Okay. So, we're going to go in order. So, first off, we have the Seven of Cups. So, this is what I'm talking about. That feeling of being overwhelmed. You've got all of these cups. So much information, you know. But you've got to pick out sort of, you've got a sample, you know? You've got 7 cups, and let's say 6 of these cups are not your opinions, your ideas, your experiences, but you've got 1 cup that's yours. So now you're debating how much of each cup you should mix into yours for, you know, an elixir of updated perspective, you know? But that can be overwhelming, you know. You don't want to fill up too much on 1 cup. You want to make sure that your core personal values are kept there, and you overall want a sense of alignment, you know. And I think that's the core energy that you're going into, and you totally have the capability to do that. And with the Ace of Swords, this is, to me, that breakthrough that I was talking about earlier, that like one word or sentence or perspective that all of a sudden shifted and like put you into this like healing transition or transformation state. So yeah, you've got all of these new ideas coming from the Seven of Cups, and there's probably something, maybe it's a compilation of things that all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, all of this makes sense. And, you know, things are suddenly cleared up. And you're like, oh, if only I had this info sooner. But you didn't. But now you do. So, you gotta start implementing. Because you're gonna be successful. You know, you've got the cup in your hands. You know, you've got all this information. It's you know, sloshing around. It's mixed it up. So, you've just got to make sure that your core values, like I said, sort of stand true, and see how this incoming information, this breakthrough information, really affects you so that you can learn and grow and develop. So the Star in Reverse is an interesting card to see pop up in this, because this is telling me that there's a disconnect in yourself. I think there's really a part of you that's scared that you're not able to process this because you're really deep in that sense of overwhelm. Maybe even to the point of like despair. And I don't like to see that. You need to work on this relationship of self-trust with yourself. Like, I'm already seeing, you know, the breakthrough, the success energy of the Ace of Swords. Like, you have the ability to do this. And like we saw before, you know, you've got people around you as well who are on similar journeys, and, you know, they're like your soul family. You're meant to encounter these people, and they're meant to help you grow. So don't think that because you're overwhelmed right now that you failed. This is literally part of it. This is part of it. And this is like the challenge you've got to take on to sift through and find like the gold nuggets in the like all of the information that you've gotten. So, you know, whatever hits the spot. The Hierophant in reverse is, again, like that emphasis of personal beliefs that we saw. So, knowing your core value system is important as you sift this information, because it's going to make it so much easier for you to see what information actually applies to you, and maybe even connect with the people that information came from. On top of this, I really think that this is challenging what you had believed prior to, and, you know, you're harnessing that energy. You're challenging yourself. You're going into the depths. We had that Scorpio energy, you know. And I think because you do have the strength, even though you might not feel it right now, but you do have the strength. We saw the Leo card, okay? You have the strength, the ability for success. Success has come up so much. I think you will really not only challenge yourself, but probably challenge the people around you, and you're going to offer like perpetual gold nuggets to other people in conversation. Like, you don't understand that you're going to be the people that like pushed you into this positive transition. You're going to be that for someone else. So, moving on, we've got the Six of Cups, and this is looking at your childhood, visiting your past, you know, memories, that kind of thing, and understanding it from a new perspective because of what you've learned. And I think this is actually going to shift things. You're going to find bits of joy. You're going to reconnect with a sense of that joyful innocence even. And I think that's going to be really, really positive for you, because it's just going to encourage you to keep learning. It's going to excite you to keep learning, because you're going to be like still in that energy that I said for Sagittarius, like asking the why because you just want to know the next step. You want to know how things work, you know? You kind of revert back to that, like, that 4-year-old energy where the, like, that's literally their sole question is why for everything. And, like, don't deny yourself digging deeper into that question, because I think that also questions the status quo, you know, like, why does something need to work this way? And it's gonna push you to be creative, and I think that's gonna be really, really fantastic for you. And then we've also got the Emperor at the end here, so I think this is sort of connecting you back to the maybe institutions or like people that you see on a higher level. Like, this is a card of, like, traditionally it's like the father figure, but this could just be someone who, like, seems to have their life together and you look up to them, and they may have delivered this information to you and really changed your perspective on things. But this is also a signifier of, like, authority or establishment. So this could be you in terms of, like, everything that you've learned, and then suddenly you're solidifying, you're establishing your value system and your opinions and your personal beliefs, and you become this figure for other people, like I said. So that might be, like, a big transition for you. This also might be an indication of you pursuing something farther in your education. Something further, like, if you're in high school, you know, going into university or an apprenticeship, or if you're in university, you know, looking at a master's or, like, starting your first job. Something that pushes you to learn more and take more information in so that you can keep building these blocks of, like, who you are. Yeah, so that's what I'm seeing for you. This looks like, dang, like, what a powerful transition. Like, yeah, this is, you're really harnessing your energy here. Like, I know that it might not feel like that, but there's there's some people in your immediate circles, I think, maybe not, like, people that you've fully connected with yet, but, like, just the mirroring energy here. I really think that there's people who are on similar journeys to you, and you might be, like, really, really focused on yourself right now, but don't be afraid to make connections with people, okay? Because they're out there, they're going through the same thing, and they may have insight for you, and you may have insight for them, so don't be afraid to make those connections. But that is what I'm seeing for you, Group 2. I hope this gave you a little bit of insight, and I hope you have a good month. Hopefully I'll see you next month. Bye! Oi! Hello, my Group 3s. If you picked the Carnelian or you were drawn to the Astrological Oracle, this is your reading. So we're going to start with the Oracle cards and sort of look at the energy that you're leaving, and the energy that you're moving into. And then we're going to sort of inspect your transition, and really get into some of the nitty-gritty details, what you can expect moving forward, and that kind of thing with the tarot cards right after. So, okay, so we've got that. I'll move this over. Make sure that we've got room. Ooh, thank you. Okay, sweet. And we'll get some more Oracle cards. Honestly, I'm really loving this spread, so you might see it in the future. Thank you. Okay. All right. We've got a couple cards on this side as well. Ooh, big things are happening for you, group 3. Wowie. All right, we're going to get some keywords from the Species by Lee Thousand Tarot, and then we're going to get into it. See what you got going on. Okay. Okay. Interesting. I'm going to take this too. Oh my gosh, wait. No way. Oh my gosh. Okay. Woo! That was so loud. Okay, so first we've got this side, which is the energy that you were in, and the transition to the energy that you are moving into. So much going on over here, but we're going to get to that soon. I want to focus on what energy you were in and perhaps leaving. So first, Virgo energy. I always see Virgos as like super, super organized. Every Virgo that I know is so on top of their stuff. They're like, they know what they like. And especially with the Venus card, like this part of your life was probably really focused on integrating things that you love. Really understanding your personal routines, what makes you tick, that kind of thing. Attention to detail is really important to the Virgo, and being insightful as well as articulate. So you may have been in a period of like offering advice to other people. Maybe that's a way that you kind of show love. Just, you know, harnessing that Venus energy. So when we look at Virgo in combination with Venus specifically, oh my gosh, my throat is getting so dry. I've been talking so much. So, like, looking at Virgo in combination with Venus, it's this idea of being of service to others. And, like, maybe, you know, acts of service are a big thing. Giving advice, that kind of thing, is how you've shown love to others. And maybe it is something that lights you up, and you've just kind of discovered this recently because, you know, we are in, like, this transition period, or, you know, it was such a big focus in your life because, you know, you wanted to understand the aspect of yourself that was, like, giving. And I feel like also, this might be an indication that there are people in your life who might accept that kindness, accept that support, you know, your acts of service, the information that you offer, your advice, but you might not feel that reciprocity. So I think this may be the energy of you, and maybe you've already processed this, but your idea of how you receive love. Because we have Starseed, which asks, what lights you up? So the focus went from you being of service to others to maybe your needs not being met, you not feeling fulfilled, and all of a sudden, you know, the question turns to, what do you need? And I think this is going to, you know, encourage you to sort of cut things away, because we have clearing. You know, you need to clear your energies. You need to release some certain things, whether it comes from external sources or an expectation that you've placed on yourself. So there's a lot of focus on the self all of a sudden, which may leave you feeling a little selfish, you know? And that's okay. You know, there's a difference between being selfish and being an asshole. Yeah, I think there's probably something that cued your transition here. because we have the initiation card, a rite of passage crossing the threshold. So like sort of a point of no return. Something's happened that really forced you to look at things, really focus on things, because we have quartz with focus down here. And all of a sudden, your perspective is kind of shifting, your experience of things is shifting, and you've got to figure out new ways of being. So that's where the innovation card comes from with tangerine quartz. So you've got to figure out new ways of being. And I think as we move into the like newer version of yourself with Pluto and Aquarius, there's really that intensity of that energy of letting go of the past and moving forward. So with these two cards in combination, it encourages you to think that, or I guess look at the idea that all things must pass to make room for the new. So clearing, again, letting things go, and then innovation, what's new that's coming in, what lights you up. This is your time, okay? New creations, dreaming a new world into being. You get to set the stage here, okay? This is your time to be selfish. And being selfish is not a bad thing. You know, you've done so much for other people, and if you're not getting that reciprocity, like, it's time to deliver some of that love to yourself and create new connections, you know, create a new space for yourself. And then also break the chain, ancestral patterns, healing, rewriting the future. So this is so huge. Okay. Like, Aquarius is all about sort of challenging the status quo, making strides, you know, really challenging, bringing vision and imagination, being open-minded. You know, you're kind of starting from a new place here, which I think is great, because even with Pluto, like, the idea of rebirth is really focused here, birthing a new age, you know? It's a rebirth for you. You get to meet yourself in this period. And I think when you meet yourself, you have a new perspective going in, because all of a sudden you're asking yourself questions, you're showing yourself love, you're acting in service to yourself because of something that, like, kind of threw you off, you know, crossing the threshold into this new age, this new world. And I think this energy that you're coming out of, like, I'm not saying this is bad. This is lovely. If acts of service is how you show love, beautiful. I love the people who do acts of service in my life, and I, like, do try and reciprocate. So, like, I appreciate you personally, but, like, I think this energy is something that maybe you've picked up from other people in your life, because it looks like ancestral patterns is pretty prominent, and sort of this feeling of being taken advantage of. You need time to heal. You need time to break the patterns and learn how to catch sooner when you're not feeling fulfilled in any certain relationship, and, you know, make the promise to yourself, do the act of service to yourself to clear that energy, and rewrite what your future looks like, making sure that you do get your needs met. That's so important. So if you're questioning and you haven't had the conversation with certain people in your life or whatever, and you feel like your needs aren't being met, and it's important to you to have those needs met. I mean, they're needs, so, like, obviously, but, like, really consider that this transition is for you. This is a rite of passage for you to recognize that you are important. and you can break this cycle of feeling like people use you for your love language. And, you know, you can demand to have your needs met. Literally, having your needs met is like the bare minimum. So never feel like that is asking too much of a person, okay? I feel like somebody may need to hear that. So, we're going to set these oracle cards aside and look at your tarot and hopefully get a little bit more information. Let's get into it. Oh my gosh, that was so fast. We've got 3 cards here. 1, 2, 3. We'll do a couple more. At least maybe 3. Oh my gosh. Okay. I want one more. I think I've done 6 for everybody else, so, okay. Oh, okay. So, first of all, great sign. We've got the King of Cups here, which is about being emotionally balanced and compassionate. So, I think this is just something you inherently are. Specifically the compassionate part. Being emotionally balanced, you know, it depends on a lot of factors. And if your needs aren't being met, then, you know, this is jeopardized. And we don't want that. So, you know, the King of Cups is somebody whose cup is full to the brim. And they then can offer things to other people. But in order for your cup to be filled to the brim, you've got to start asking the questions of what lights you up, you know? What things do you need out of your relationships, whether it's with other people or with yourself, that is going to make you feel fulfilled? That's so, so important for you. And then we've got the 7 of Pentacles in reverse, which is you accepting limited success or reward. And this just, it's got to stop happening. You deserve way more than what you're getting from what I'm catching with this vibe right now, okay? I don't know if you need to hear that, but I'm saying it because the 7 of Pentacles is like, you're not looking at the long term. You know, you're like, oh, this is fine for now, and like, maybe you're even putting off, you know, communicating your needs with someone because you're scared, and that should not be happening. Oh my god. No. You deserve to have your needs met. Like I said, that is the bare minimum, okay? I'm trying real hard not to start swearing because you don't need foul language right now, but I'm trying to drive the point home, okay? Like, your needs are so friggin' valid, and like, asking someone to fulfill a need for you, especially if you're in like a relationship, friendship, whatever, it should not scare you. That's a problem if it scares you. And like, I'm not saying, you know, it's a problem because of the person or whatever. Like, maybe it's a problem because of the person, in which case, like, maybe clear them. But, you know, you need to look at yourself. Maybe this is the like the ancestral kind of heaviness that you're carrying around. Maybe there's something that you've picked up from, you know, your youth or something like that, where you were afraid to express those needs. I hate to like call that out, but you know, there might be something inward that you need to expect, something that wasn't fulfilled, and you don't know how to communicate. So you need to figure out how to communicate it, because I think once you do, you know, there's this sense of strength. There's this sense of compassion for yourself. Something like, once you've done this, once you've voiced what you need, And like, if you've gotten it, it'll be a sense of strength. It'll be a sense of fulfillment. It'll be a sense of like a returned sense of compassion. And if it's not fulfilled, if, you know, if instead it's turned on you, you can have the strength to clear that energy, to walk away. Because I think with justice in reverse here, this is that sense of unfairness, a lack of accountability, dishonesty. Like, if someone says that your needs are too much, flat out lie. Like, get rid of them. Because, like, if someone says that you are too much, they are looking for less. They do not deserve your energy. Or, you know, a fraction of your energy is all that they can handle. And that's fine. There's people out there who will be able to handle your energy. So, you know, if they aren't held accountable for what they cannot, what they say they can provide, then, you know, believe them. Move on. The Hanging Man tells me you might not move on. This might be you delaying things yourself, stalling, because again, there's that fear. And I don't know you personally, obviously, but like, well, maybe I do. I actually don't know everyone who watches my videos, but just like you stalling in talking about your needs is doing a disservice to yourself and to the person. Like, maybe they don't know and they've been showing you, you know, love in their own way. And like you're leaving the energy behind where you do everything. You know, you're moving into the energy, you're breaking those generational curses even of not asking for what you need and just, you know, doing what you think is expected of you. Communicate. That's so important right now, right here. And then we've got the Four of Swords in reverse. And this is about putting, like, putting the nail in the coffin. I don't know if you actually know that saying, but like, closing the case. Also another saying. But basically, like, once you actually put this out on the table, it's a personal celebration, you know? And like I said before, there are going to be people who take it on full force and show you that compassion. And then there's going to be people who challenge you and say that there's too much. There's going to be conflict, dishonesty, lack of accountability, and you have to be the one to discern whether you like close the lid on that relationship, put it away, bury it, or, you know, accept that that personal success of finally asking for what you need. Whether it's granted to you or not, like, that alone is a personal success that is worthy of celebration. Okay? So, this is a huge transition for you, but I think once you do it, it's going to get progressively easier. You just have to have compassion and trust for yourself. That's what I'm seeing with these cards. Okay? So, quit your stalling. Because as soon as you, like, clear out the people who aren't willing to put in the energy, that makes room for new people to come in. And that's what you need. That's what you need. You need that positive energy, but first you have to give these people a chance by stating what you need. So, that's what I'm seeing for you. I'm sorry if that was hard to hear, but thank you so much for letting me read for you today. I really do hope this brought you a little bit of insight, maybe gave you the pep talk you needed, and I hope to see you next month. Bye!